Imagine a small, unassuming reptile roaming the land some 260 million years ago. Unatosaurus, with its broad, flat ribs and lizard-like body, might not seem extraordinary at first glance. Yet, this humble creature is where the incredible story of turtles begins. Unatosaurus wasn't a turtle, nor did it have a shell, but its broad ribs hinted at the revolutionary transformation that would take millions of years. These ribs, initially an adaptation for digging and burrowing, laid the foundation for the turtle's most defining feature, its shell. But why would a digging adaptation evolve into armor? And how did turtles, some of the slowest creatures on land, conquer both land and sea? To answer these questions, let's dive into this remarkable journey through time and discover the ancestors that shaped one of nature's most enduring survivors. Our journey begins in the late Permian period, 260 million years ago, when the Earth looked vastly different. The supercontinent Pangaea spanned the globe, and deserts dominated much of the land. Life faced harsh conditions and fierce competition. Among the many species vying for survival were parareptiles, the ancestors of turtles. These creatures were experimenting with body structures to cope with the harsh environment. It was here that Unatosaurus emerged, starting the evolutionary journey that would span hundreds of millions of years. Its broad ribs served as a structural advantage for digging into compact soil, offering protection from predators and harsh weather. However, these ribs introduced a challenge. They restricted the expansion of the lungs, making breathing more difficult. To solve this, Unatosaurus and its descendants evolved new mechanisms for respiration, such as muscles that pushed and pulled air into their lungs. This feature is an example of compensatory adaptation, where organisms evolve new traits to overcome challenges caused by earlier evolutionary changes. But the story of Unatosaurus's ribs doesn't end there. Over millions of years, these broad, flat ribs were repurposed for an entirely different function, forming the rigid, protective shell that defines modern turtles. This is an example of a phenomenon called exaptation, where a trait that originally evolved for one purpose is later co-opted for another. A well-known example of exaptation is the evolution of feathers in birds. Feathers likely first evolved for insulation, helping dinosaurs regulate their body temperature, but later became crucial for flight. Fast forward to 230 million years ago, and we encounter Aoryncocalis, a pivotal ancestor in the turtle lineage. Discovered in China, this species represents a critical transitional stage. Aoryncocalis lacked a full shell but had broad, flat ribs and a beak-like jaw. This jaw was an early adaptation for specialized feeding, marking the beginning of the turtle's shift away from teeth. The evolution of the beak wasn't unique to turtles. Birds, for example, developed beaks to adapt to specific diets, from cracking seeds to sipping nectar. This convergence highlights how evolution often finds similar solutions across unrelated species. Aoryncocalis' beak marks one of the earliest experiments in this adaptation, long before birds began their journey. While its ribs continued to offer structural support, they restricted mobility, making life on land increasingly difficult. This limitation likely drove early turtles toward aquatic environments. By 220 million years ago, the next major ancestor, Odontocalis, appeared in the fossil record. This creature is significant because it had a fully developed plastron, the bottom shell, but lacked a complete carapace, the top shell. This adaptation suggests that the turtle's shell evolved from the bottom up, possibly to protect its vulnerable belly from aquatic predators. Odontocalis also marks a critical transition to life in water, where its partially developed shell and streamlined body provided both protection and mobility. Unlike modern turtles, Odontocalis still had teeth, indicating that the evolution of a full beak would come later as turtles diversified. About 210 million years ago, we meet Proganocalis, the first turtle to possess a fully developed shell, including both the carapace and plastron. This shell provided unmatched protection, enabling Proganocalis to thrive in a world filled with predators. Proganocalis also lacked teeth, relying on its strong beak for feeding. However, it retained some primitive features, such as a long, spiked tail, which suggests it was still adapting to its environment. During the Cretaceous period, around 100 million years ago, turtles began to diversify into different ecological niches. Among the most fascinating groups were the myolinids, massive land turtles known for their horned skulls. These turtles were built for life on land, with thick, dome-shaped shells that protected them from large predators like dinosaurs. Myolanids highlight the adaptability of turtles, evolving unique features to thrive in their specific environments. The Cretaceous period also saw the rise of Archelon, the largest sea turtle ever discovered. Measuring up to 15 feet in length, Archelon was a true giant of the oceans. Its lightweight shell and long flippers made it a powerful swimmer, capable of traveling vast distances in search of food. Archelon's diet likely consisted of jellyfish and other soft-bodied marine creatures, showcasing how turtles adapted to dominate aquatic environments. After surviving the mass extinction that wiped out the dinosaurs, turtles diversified into the species we know today. Modern turtles, tortoises, and sea turtles represent a lineage that has stood the test of time. Their shells have adapted to various habitats, dome-shaped for tortoises, streamlined for sea turtles, and lighter for freshwater species. From the unassuming Eunotosaurus to the mighty Archelon, the evolution of turtles is a story of resilience and transformation. The same forces that shaped turtles for millions of years are still at play today. But who knows what turtles might become after another 200 million years? These traits have made turtles one of nature's greatest evolutionary success stories. If you enjoyed this exploration of turtle evolution, don't forget to subscribe for more journeys through the history of life on Earth. What animal should we explore next? Let us know in the comments.